Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Mr. Sanchez coming at you guys with another lesson today. Today's geometry lesson is going to be 15-2, also known as kites. Our learning target is to develop properties of trapezoids. Okay, but first we need to go over some definitions. Okay, so what is a trapezoid? You're probably wondering. A trapezoid is a quadrilateral with exactly one pair of parallel sides. The parallel sides of a trapezoid are called bases, and the non-parallel sides are called legs. The pair of consecutive angles that include each of the bases are called base angles. All right, so right here we have a trapezoid. And first things first, let's label some things. So these two, we know these are the bases because they're parallel to each other, and we show that they are parallel to each other like that. So our bases are going to be segment TR and segment PA. Okay. Next, we got to establish what our legs are. Well, if you look at the definition of a leg, it's the non-parallel sides. So the non-parallel sides are going to be TP and RA. Okay. Next thing, the last thing we got to do is we got to identify the base angles. So the base angles are two consecutive angles that include each of the base. So here's one angle. And in order for this angle to be a base angle, you have to have the other angle to be part of the other base. So these two are one pair of angles. So T and P. So a base angle, angles T and P are base angles. However, there's two pairs of base angles in every trapezoid. So the other pair is actually going to be R and A. Okay. So angle R and A are also base angles. Okay, because they also touch both bases. As for the final thing, we need to go over something else. And that's basically, well, first of all, this is the basics of a trapezoid. Next, we got to go over something called the median of a trapezoid. The median of a trapezoid is a segment with endpoints at the midpoint of each leg of the trapezoid. All right. So in this case here, our median, MN is the median. So let's write that down. MN is the median. And then the median of a trapezoid is parallel to the bases, and its length is the average length of the bases. So we know that this is parallel to this, and this is also, they're all parallel. And because MN is the median, that means it cuts segment FE in half, right? So this part is going to be congruent to this part. Now, we don't know that FE and GH are the same, but MN is going to be in the midpoint of both of these segments. So we know that GN is going to be parallel to GH, which is why we use two lines for those. Okay. The median is always going to be equal to the average of the bases, right? So we have EH and FG. So if the average asks you to calculate what the median is, you're going to add the length of the top base plus the length of the bottom base and divide by 2. We're going to come back to this in a little bit, okay? So first, we're going to go to our first example here, okay? Right here, they tell us MN is a median. M is the median of the trapezoid, okay? So example 1, problem A says, if the measurement of angle GFE is 42 degrees, then find the other angles. So if GFE, this is 42 degrees, it's asking us to find the other angles. Well, because all these lines are parallel to each other, we know that the measure of angle NME, right, NME, because we know we continue this line right here and this line right here. These are parallel lines cut by a transversal. And so we know that this angle here is going to be congruent to this angle here. So we know this is going to also be 42 degrees because they are corresponding angles, right? Let me just switch. Oops. So this is going to be 42 degrees as well. Now it's asking us to find MEH, okay? If you continue this line, actually, well, actually, no, I'm sorry. I'm getting him. So now we gotta find angle MEH. And you're probably wondering, how do we find angle MEH? Well, actually, if you continue this line here, and we look at these two lines as parallel lines, we know that this angle here is going to be congruent to this angle here. Once again, because they're corresponding angles. So, and because this angle here, FMM, is plus angle is plus 42 equals a straight line, then we know that, so we know the following, okay? So measurement of angle MEH is congruent to measurement of angle FMN. Okay, we know this much, right? And we know that the measurement of angle FMN plus 42 equals 180. Then this implies, then we could do some subtraction here. 42 minus 42. And we get the measurement of angle FMN to be 132, 138. So, and because this is congruent to this, then we're going to say that the measurement, therefore, a measurement of angle MEH is equal to 138. Okay, so it's going to be 138 degrees. And that's just using a lot of information from parallel lines. Okay, so let's get rid of some of this stuff. Oops, too much. Let me zoom in. Let me get rid of all the stuff we don't need. Okay, so we have that stuff labeled. And our problem 3 says if FG is 19, so let's put 19 up here. And MN, oh wait, no, it's if MN is 19. MN is 19 and EH is 12. What is FG? Okay, so now I want you guys to remember that because MN is the median, then that means that MN is going to be equal to the top FG plus the bottom EH, all of that divided by 2. Because it's the median, so it takes the average, right? That means that we have 19 is equal to X plus 12 over 2. And now all we got to do is solve for X. To solve for X, we do pretty simple. We're going to multiply both sides by 2. And so that's going to give us 38 is equal to X plus 12 minus 12. We're going to get X is equal to 26. So we know that FG is length 26. Ta-da. And that's it. All right. So that's the basics of a trapezoid and the median of a trapezoid. Okay. So now we've got to go over one more example, and to get some of this stuff done, and then we're gonna do isosceles trapezoid. We're gonna go over isosceles trapezoids. Okay. So example 2, it says UV is the median of the trapezoid QRST. So that means we have QRST, that's our trapezoid. This is our trapezoid. Right, and we're saying that this UV is our median. So because UV is our median, that we know this side is congruent to this side because it cuts this part in half, and this side is congruent to this side. So we can say QU is congruent to UT, and we can also say RV, oh, don't forget the lines on top, is congruent to VS. Okay. Now it's asking us to look for QU. QU. Okay, so if our UT is 4, then that means QU is equal to oh my bad. If QU is 3, right? So let's look at this side over here. UT is 3. So we know what that is, right? So UT is 3. And because this is congruent to this, that means that QU is also 3. So we have our first answer. This is 3. Similarly, we're looking for VS. We know that RV is 4. And because RV is congruent to VS, we can say that VS is also equal to 4. Ta-da. Okay. So that's how I found those sides. And then the last thing we need to know is we got to find the length of the UV. Because UV is the median, to find the UV, you're going to do UV, because that's the median, is going to be equal to the top, which is QR, plus the bottom base, which is TS. And then all of that's going to be divided by 2. Okay, now we're looking for UV. And now we got to do is plug in our values. QR is equal to 11. And then TS is equal to 15. And then all of this is divided by 2. Right? 11 plus 15 is going to be 26. 26 divided by 2 is going to give us 13. So we're going to get that UV is 13. Ta-da. So we're going to have 13 here. And that's how we do the second example. Okay. Next up, we have the isosceles trapezoid. Okay, all an isosceles trapezoid is a new definition. Is a trapezoid with congruent legs. So all we're saying is that AD is going to be congruent to EC. Okay, and the isosceles trapezoid actually has a couple of things to go over. Okay, it still carries that DE is still going to be congruent to AC, right? But now we know that the non-base angle pairs. So if DNA is a base, so DNA are base angles, right? So a pair that's non-base, so A and C, these are going to be congruent to each other. Okay. And then another thing we're going to know is that the other non-base angles are also going to be congruent. So it's going to be congruent like that. So when it comes down to it, it's going to have 2 pairs of congruent angles, and it's still going to be parallel, and it's going to have 2 pairs of congruent sides. So properties are, number 1, props. All right, so we're going to go with props of isos, right? Traps. All right. Number 1 is contains 2 distinct pairs of congruent angles. And it also has 2 congruent legs. Congruent legs. Those are the specific things that we need to know about. And that's basically it. That's all we need to know about trapezoids. We're gonna go over in class the examples involving isosceles trapezoids and what happens when you introduce the median. But for the most part, that's the video for today, guys. If you need more questions, make sure you show up to class and participate in the Zooms. All right, guys. Bye.